Hi guys, Brexit is going to bite a Labour government very quickly on the behind. So steelworkers at TATA are planning a number of strikes to take place after the general election to have as big an impact as possible on the incoming administration. Now, while the workers have legitimate grievances, the problem is that whatever Labour try to do to resolve them, it may be impossible for them to come out the other side with success. Here, Alison McGovern from the shadow government tried to talk her way out of an impossible situation, and I'll explain why it's impossible in just a moment.
That 3 days into the job, there's going to be, the TATA Steel just announced their workers are going to be striking indefinitely for the first time ever. Beyond, saying that you'll sit down at the table and negotiate with them, what is the Labour Party going to do?
Well, my heart goes out to those workers in South Wales because they've lived with, serious uncertainty over their heads. So I think for a long time our country's needed a plan for steel. There's a big challenge that we know we've got to meet on net zero, and steel is a really energy intensive industry. That's why Johnny Reynolds and Ed Miliband have got a plan for steel to make sure that we get the investment in to change that industry. What I would like is for no decisions to be taken now whilst this general election is on that can't be reversed. OK, you say you've got a plan, but people can see the way the wind is blowing, people can see the polls, and these strikes are still happening. You just haven't really given me any details of how that plan's actually going to stop those massive strikes from going ahead. So what we need is to get through this general election. We are working so hard to get a Labour government, and we really can't take any vote for granted. We need to make sure that we can get a Labour government on the 4th of July and then crack on with our Green Prosperity Plan to help the steel industry and to help save jobs and build jobs for the future in a way that's sustainable, that can help tackle climate change and put a foundation in our economy that can help us grow for the future.
Okay, so Alison here talking about a plan, but we don't know what that plan actually is. You see, TATA have said that they have to close or change some operations due to a number of factors. They mentioned high operational costs, changing market conditions, environmental regulations, the economic uncertainty in Britain post-Brexit, global competition with countries like China, and its legal issues related to outdated facilities and legacy costs. Now, this is of course having an impact on workers, thus we're seeing these strikes or potential strikes. But a future Labour government will have to pick a side. If they back TATA, they will likely face a backlash from trade unions, not just in steel, but probably other ones as well. Not exactly something they want from day one. If they try to give in to the workers' demands and either pay TATA to keep the operations as they are, this would result in a number of problems. If the UK government were to diverge from EU standards, it could result in stricter customs checks, more paperwork, which of course is an extra cost, and the UK and the EU could enter a trade dispute, which would be not good for either side. Also, lower environmental standards would damage UK steel's international reputation, which is something you can't really put a price on. TATA have said that they need to implement these changes so they can continue to sell into the EU from outside the bloc, a bloc that is rising environmental standards all the time. But TATA also need to meet UK standards, and sticking to outdated operations are making the steel less competitive in the global market. So Labour will likely, in my opinion, back TATA, but perhaps ask the company to provide redundancy packages or training for different fields, which may or may not be acceptable to the trade unions. So Labour is going to inherit a massive Brexit headache, and it could be the first of many. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.